When your income rises, the way you invest has to change with it. Most people don't know that. You keep doing the same things at every income level and wonder why you're not getting ahead. My name is Mark Russell, retired financial advisor, 6 years at Vanguard, came up through the foster care system with nothing. No financial safety net, graduated from college drowning in $80,000 of debt, and I had absolutely no clue how I was going to get out of it. I've since paid that off, built a six-figure investment portfolio, and helped hundreds of thousands of people do the same through BetterWallet. Today, I'm breaking down the exact investment strategy at $1,000, $5,000, and $10,000 a month. Let's get into it. Let's start at $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. And the goal here is not to invest. In my opinion, the goal is to survive and build stability. And I know that's not what you came here to hear. And the reason why is because at that income level, your employer doesn't really see you as a critical member of the team yet. And frankly, they can let you go at any time for almost any reason. And without a cushion, one unexpected expense, a car repair, a layoff, a medical bill, you're in debt, and you'll likely spend years digging yourself out of it. I talk to people all the time at this level who are stressed to the point of paralysis, and they feel like they're one bill away from a crisis. That shame around money is real. I felt that too back in the day. So here's what I want you to be focused on at $1,000 a month. First, I want you to build your emergency fund. Open a high-yield savings account and put whatever you can into it, even $50 a month. HYSA rates are around 4% right now. So even $3,000 sitting there is earning you about $120 per year. And I want you to build towards 1 to 3 months of expenses. From there, do a cash flow audit. Go through your last 30 days and find the leaks because there are some. Most people at this level might be losing $100 to $200 per month to subscriptions they forgot to even sign up for. I want you to find that money first. And third, invest in yourself before you invest in the market. I want you to invest into a skill that can build in 6 to 12 months that could add $2,000 or more to your annual income. I'm talking about sales, which I personally did, tech, certifications, and in my opinion, that beats investing in the market at this stage. Real quick, I have a free checklist that maps out exactly where your money should go at every income level. Over 23,000 people have downloaded it completely free at financesincheck.com/checklist. The link is in my description. At $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, you have enough to finally start making real moves. But this level comes with a trap that catches almost everyone. The average Social Security check right now is $2,071 per month, roughly 40% of the average final salary. And that percentage is going down as the population ages. You cannot build a real retirement plan around Social Security. I work with so many people who said, they'll deal with retirement later. And later became 10 years later. 10 years of compound interest that you'll never get back. So here is what you should be doing at $50,000 a month. Go after your employer match first, no exceptions. Most employers match 4 to 6% of your salary, and that is an instant 100% return. There is nothing in the market that can compete with that. If you're not taking your full match right now, you're literally leaving money on the ground. Then set your contribution target by age. In your 20s, try to aim for about 10%, which is $500 a month at $5,000. In your 30s, push to 15%, which is about $750. But honestly, start wherever you can and bump it up 1% after every raise. Then work the cash flow waterfall in order, which I'll show you in full at the end of this video. $5,000 feels good, but $10,000, that sounds like actual freedom. But I've sat across from people who are making $120,000 a year who feel like they had nothing to show for it. And what was happening to them is something that no one warned you about. At $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year, you have the flexibility to build real generational wealth. But this is also the level where the most self-inflicted financial damage happens. And I truly mean that. More money doesn't automatically mean more security. The more you make, the more your lifestyle quietly inflates to match it. You get the promotion, you move to a nicer apartment, you upgrade the car, you go out to eat more often. And then 2 years later, your bank account looks exactly the same as when you were making only $60,000 a year. More money in, but nothing to show for it. That, my friends, is what we call lifestyle creep. And at $120,000, it destroys you silently because you never feel broke enough to fix it. And here's what you should be doing at $10,000 a month. Attack high interest debt aggressively, and not I'll get to it aggressively. It's a guaranteed negative return that you cannot out-invest. Max your employer match at the same time. Then when the debt is gone, go straight to your IRA. The 2026 limit for an IRA is $7,500 if you're under the age of 50. If you qualify for a Roth, that is tax-free growth for decades. In my opinion, the closest thing to a cheat code in personal finance. After that, open a taxable brokerage, diversify long-term investments, and from there, take on more calculated risk with a portion of your portfolio. A small portion of money that if the market fluctuates, you still feel good. Now, once all that is in place, once the investments are flowing, the foundation is solid, the next question everyone asks me is the same one. Mark, what about real estate? Basically, should I be buying a house? And I want to give you the honest answer on all of that, and not the one that just feels good. Real estate is a luxury decision, not a bad one. A luxury one. It's a luxury decision, not an automatic next step. Your first home is not going to be your best investment. I don't care what anyone says. I am willing to die on that hill. Closing costs, mortgage interest, taxes, insurance, maintenance, they all eat into your returns in ways most people don't really account for. The question is not whether you can afford the mortgage, it's whether you can absorb all the other expenses when something goes wrong. And we all know something always goes wrong. Your hot water heater goes out, that's $4,000. And it wipes out your entire cushion. And if you don't have a cushion, you are definitely not ready. If you choose to rent, renting is not losing. It's protecting yourself. And honestly, real estate makes a lot more sense when you see where it actually fits in the order of operations, which brings me to the framework that ties this whole video together. This is a cash flow waterfall. The exact order your money moves through every time you get paid, at $1,000, at $5,000, or $10,000 per month. Step one is your emergency fund in a high yield savings account at 4% right now. That's your protection. Everything starts there. Step two is where two things happen at the same time. Your company retirement plan up to the employer match, that's your free money, and high interest debt because that interest compounds against you every single day. Both live at the same level. Handle them together. Step number three is your IRA, traditional or Roth, depending on your situation. You can also frankly do both. Retirement savings and tax advantages working together. Step number four is your HSA, health savings account. If you have a high deductible health plan and your employer offers one to you. Pre-tax dollars in, tax-free growth, tax-free when you take it out for medical expenses. Triple tax advantage and the most underused account in personal finance, in my opinion. Step number five is maxing out your full retirement plan contributions beyond your employer match, which are tax deductible up to the threshold. For 2026, it's $24,500. Step number six is your taxable brokerage account, your long-term wealth vehicle once everything else is funded. But notice, real estate doesn't come until your foundation is truly solid. Let it be you can't pay the mortgage or you have to pay for something really expensive. They don't really have a foundation to fall back on. And that is not a good time to find out that you should have got your foundation together in the first place, because you can't pause mortgage payments. All right, that's it. I have a free checklist that maps out the entire waterfall. Completely free, and the link is in the description. And if you want to go further and actually understand every debt payoff strategy and which one actually works for you, click on this video right here, and I'll see you over there.